All right, welcome everyone. Today I'm going to walk you through some of the basic principles of building AI agent, and I will go a bit slow to help you realize the slow evolution of how you think about an agent and how you decide and design building an agent. Now, I would like to start with one area. For any AI agent, you build today, you need a large language model or a generative AI model. It could be a small language model, mid language model, or a large language model. Doesn't really matter. But you need a generative AI model which has got a reasoning capability. So that's the fundamental of selecting a model. That's the mandatory building block of an AI agent. And then on top of that, you need certain deterministic function which will be called by the model as and when it is required based on the input you are giving. And for that, what kind of function it needs to call, it will call, which are pre-configured. So that's the fundamental of the agent. So if anybody asks you about the definition of what is an agent, you must say that an AI agent is a system which uses large language model to call set up tools in a loop to get you the output, and it should be a single action which that agent is going to do. So an agent, we typically don't build an agent for generic purpose, we build an agent for a specific purpose, and hence the setup tools you provide to that agent actually are capable of doing those specific activities. So that's the very fundamental of agent. With that understanding, I would like to demonstrate the evolution of agent, how it looks like. Now for that I need some model. So I'll choose a foundry. You can select anywhere model from anywhere, and then you can actually go ahead and build it. So let me just open this foundry, and once I open this foundry, I go to the resources and see if I have any resources available. Once I get to see the resources available, what I'm going to now do, once it opens up, I will select the foundry I have got access to. So let this open. And then I will go to this foundry where this it is created. So when you use Azure, you basically have a resource group, and inside that resource group, you create a foundry resource, and then inside that foundry resource, you get a project. That's the fundamental structure of using foundry in Azure. And inside that foundry project, you then go ahead and deploy those models and etc. So you have a different view altogether to perform further activity of deploying or selecting a model and deploying it against your project, and then using it inside your foundry. So let me go ahead and show you those models from where you can deploy the model and then build those agents inside that. So if you look here in the Microsoft Foundry, where you basically have got the project created in Azure. So it is going to get me logged into that. So this is the new portal, and I'm going to go into the build section of this, and you will find there are models available. And here some of the models are already deployed. To deploy a base model, when you do it for the first time, you don't have these models available with you. So you can select and deploy a base model, choose a model, and then deploy it in your foundry. So you can see that you basically have got something around 204 models available, not just from Microsoft or OpenAI, but for other companies also available here. So you can select a model based on whichever one you have decided for your specific project. So they are all available in front of you to select and work on. So you have got all these models. So I already have few models already deployed. So I'll go into this overview section and get back to my model. I'll go back to build models, and I will use one of these models. So let's say I'm going to use the GPT-4.1 mini. So that's the base model I have selected. And you can see that It is a version of 2025 model, so it's a bit old model. And I have deployed it in a global standard, and I'm going to build something. Now, before I build something using this model, I can test this model. So when you say that run a playground, you basically now interacting with this base model um, directly. There is no agent. At this point, there is no agent. So I say hi to this model. So it's sending a prompt to the model, which will respond me from its memory because there's no data and etc. associated to it. So there is no knowledge or IQ added to this model. So I say, what is the date today? If I ask this question, it's going to go ahead and get the date, try to get the date from the model. As you can see that the date shows a bit old. So today is 21st July, but the date shows here as April 27, 2024, which is an old date because this probably is the date somewhere stored in the model's memory, which is not correct, which is not current. So we cannot use this model. But we have done that in past. When we build an intelligent application, we have selected a model and we attach that model with our application using SDK. We send the prompt, we receive the response, and we displayed it in our application either in a chatbot format or in a nice intelligent output format. But those were the kind of intelligent app development activity. This is what this playground really simulates here. I'm going to use this model to build an agent, right? And I will go step by step. So when I build my first agent, so I will go the first agent section, and I say that say new agent. So when I say build a new agent, it is going to ask me the name of the agent. Agent, I'll say July 26, just to identify that's the agent which I just now have created. And it's going to go ahead and check the GPT-5, which is basically going to create a GPT-5 deployment and then use it. However, I'm going to use an existing model which are deployed and run it. So that's fine. It's going to use the GPT-5 mini, which is the replacement of the model which I have selected. So you have seen the GPT-4.1 mini, which you can no more deploy in your system because the support is gone. So that's why it selected a better model, which you can change later point in time. So all the deployments within this project shows up here. So other models are available here in the list. You can choose and deploy a new one based on that. So let's leave with that. So it's you are a helpful agent. You answer cheerfully. So if that's the kind of like response I'm going to get, so I say that this is the agent I'm going to get here, and I am going to remove this for now. I'll add later point in time. This is the agent I'm going to get. So I just say that I'm not going to add it here, for example. So this is my first agent. I save this agent. There is no instruction. So here the instruction for an agent is very, very, very important aspect. This is ideally the system prompt. Otherwise, if you have built an LLM based application, you have used the system prompt to tell LLM that what kind of a response you're supposed to be receiving and getting, or responding back, what kind of tone you set those flavor into the LLM, right? Here, let's assume that this is the agent. So this is an agent. Basically, it's an agent. And it's not a true agent. It's just now using the LLM. So I say hi. The playground looks same, but it is an agent. So you can see that what can I help do today? Okay, fine. I'm fine. And then I say what is the date. Now you notice the response before I type this. You notice the response. How can I help you today? Now I change this system prompt saying that you are a helpful agent. You answer cheerfully, and then I save this agent. So when I save this agent with an instruction, which is a system prompt, the response of that agent changes significantly. And that's the behavior I'm looking for. So I type again, hi, and then you see that there must be some changes, right? So hi there, how can I help you today? So a little bit of change is coming. If you don't see a lot of change, you can always start a new fresh one. So I said hi. Let's see. Yeah, there is a smiley. So this basically a little change in the behavior, though the text remains same, but a smiley got added. So you basically see the difference here. Now I say, what is the date? If I ask this question, it's not going to give me the current date because it is only be able, oh, it is able to give me the current date because I'm running in the playground of that agent. But ideally, it should not give me the current date if you build an application, because it is now using this um, browser's uh, thing and then getting me the date. I see, like, let me ask some question which is more relevant. Who is the winner of FIFA 2026 World Cup football? Let me copy this and I ask this question. When I ask this question, right, you see here, it is going to give you an answer which says that I don't have a live web access. So I cannot confirm the real time event after my tracing cutoff. So notice here the word. So it says training cutoff. The training cutoff means that when the last data we have provided from the internet, it was not up to the date. Definitely it's not. So as of today, the FIFA World Cup just has finished, but I cannot fetch the winner for EU. Would you like me to tell where to check? So it is also trying to help you. That is going to tell you that go to FIFA side, figure it out, or other news portals. So instead, now this is not a true agent because it's only using LLM. I'm now gonna use the tools. Now let me, before I use the tool, I wanna show you the traces. So when you send a question, query, right, message, basically, what is, sorry, this, let me this one. You notice here, I sent this question, right? So the question was, who is the winner of FIFA 2026 World Cup football? And the agent, you see that this is called agent, is responding me with a suggestion that it doesn't have that its memory. So I need some additional data, and I'm now telling agent, hey agent, I don't know whether you should get it from the memory or outside. You decide. If it is not there, then you go and fetch that information. But you have this tool available. So let me use a bit broader tool to get these information. So in the section called tools here, you can see I'm going to add an existing cool tool called web search, which is what it is going to use Bing search and then will be called. So now I save it, start a new chat, and ask the same question. Who is the winner of FIFA 2026 World Cup football? If I ask this question, then it's going to give me the kind of like information which is not there in the memory, but it is saying that Spain is the result. Now it is giving me the result and also giving me from where it picked up the result, because it can now do a web search. Now, when you do web search using any search engine, you basically get that right result. So I'm gonna just show you the execution. So you see here, now the web search is happening. It's a tool call, right? The message comes, you basically ask a question, who is the winner? It calls a tool called web search, sends this query and gets a message and displays it for you. Even it shows you from where that information comes. So it's kind of having those annotations. So you kind of have that correct information coming in from an OAP because you have added the tool, but you have never said the agent to call the tool. So um, who who is, so let me ask this question, who is Shakespeare, right? And it is gonna give me a little bit of information about the Shakespeare, who he is. He was an author. He wrote those drama, and then kind of like a little bit of uh, biography of the Shakespeare coming in. Now, let me show you the trace here. If you notice this question, which is being asked in the second one, who is Shakespeare? This is supposed to be inside the large language model's memory. And hence, you don't see the web search tool is getting called for this second query. It is coming from the LLM's memory. So now system, that agent, understand that it doesn't need to call the tool because there is already a GPT model which has got a pre-trained data available in its memory, and memory like information like Shakespeare is so obvious that it will be there, right? So it doesn't need to bring in. It's not a current information. It is an age old, century old information which many of the data has got out there in the internet. Probably a Wikipedia article has been pushed here to train it. It is that one, and then it has got all the information. So you can see that it is not giving me the reference because it is now fetching the information from its memory. It's not using the web search because the trace here clearly shows that web search is not being called here at this point in time, right? So we are good at this stage, right? We have now tools. Now I'm going to change these tools a bit here and there and show you a different kind of information. Now web search is a bit broader tool because you can send any query to a web search engine and get result. Right? I want to narrow it down. I want to say, hey, I'm going to give you a tool, but you know what? This tool does a very specific thing. So let me show you a couple of things here in the tool activity. So give me a second where I'm gonna just copy system prompt, right? Now let me just quickly copy the system prompt. It's a bit bigger. Let me also show it in the screen so that you can read it. And this is a system prompt which I'm gonna use in my next demo. So what I'm saying, you are a helpful agent. You use Microsoft Learn MCP server. So this is one way to search inside the Microsoft official technology documentation. And whenever I ask question, it only fetches the information from this area, not going to do a web search and fetching the information from personal blog or third-party blogs or third-party websites. Only to the official documentation, which is supposed to be the correct and up to date. And then I'm also saying that in the instruction system prompt, limit the responses to only information verified from Microsoft, to only information verified from Microsoft, which means that you don't bring anything from your memory, because I know that the memory can have Microsoft law um, documentation information pre-trained, which can be a stale information because that might have changed in the official documentation. Because when the model got trained, probably that time it was right, but then something has happened, somebody has changed and made it up to date. Our engineering team does that every now and then when they have new information or correct information. There is a dedicated team of people who manages those huge amount of content. So it is, I need the current and up to date information. So only use the MCP server. And then if you do not have the answer, limit your responses only to the information verified from Microsoft and say, sorry, I do not have this information. So if I ask this FIFA question to this, you will notice the difference. Now, what is the MCP server? In a very high level, it is sort of like a set of tools or tool which is built and developed by someone and available outside of the context of your agent. So agent is running in some place where otherwise you have the tools also running. Uh, in this case, your tool is remote. You are basically calling an API like sort of interface where those tools are defined and configured. You just take that information, attach it to your agent, and the LLM can decide whether to go and fetch the information from the tool. In this case, it will always go and fetch the information from the tool because that's what the system prompt says. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to just change the existing agent which I have been working on. So I just added this system prompt. I remove the web search because I don't want this agent to make any search call to a web, because otherwise it will find every information. And I'm going to add this Microsoft Learn MCP server. If you don't see it, because I recently have used it, that's why it's visible, you can see add tools and it will find hundreds of tools available for you to pick up. So the Microsoft Learn MCP server is the tool which then can actually do that. Now I save it. Every time you save it, the best practices is that you start a new chat so that history is gone, the context is there, not there. So it is not going to do that. Now I say hi. When I say hi, you notice the response. Here it is going to tell you that, sorry, I do not have this information. Ask me about Microsoft. So what I'll ask this agent, what can you do for me? I ask this question to the agent because I don't know who the agent is, what the Microsoft technology they are talking about. I have no clue about it. Huh? So it says that the agent wants to call the Learn MCP server. Okay, so you see here it's an external call. So I can choose approve once, always approve this tool, or always approve all Microsoft Learn MCP server tools. So for the demo sec, I'm going to go ahead, select all, and then it's going to go ahead and fetch the information. And this is the query, which is going to be going into Microsoft Learn portal and search you, right? And you can see that it is now explaining me that I can help you with Microsoft technology using official Microsoft Learn documentation. I'll find summaries and show authorized how to step and all these many detailed information. So now I have an idea. Now I say this good old question, right? Because I'm being a typical internet user. I go and say, you know what? Who is the winner of the FIFA World Cup football? Sorry, you see? Sorry, I do not have this information. Ask me about the Microsoft. So it's very grounded and to the point in terms of what its responsibility is. So that's the whole foundation of building an agent. An agent does one thing and one thing very well. Okay, that one thing is searching information from Microsoft technology very well. So I'll say that what are the latest models available in Foundry? If I ask this question, what are the latest models available in Foundry? It is going to ask this question. I need to approve it again. I say approve, and then it goes ahead and sends a request to Microsoft Doc Search and finds me all the information about the latest models which now Foundry has announced, right? So you can see that there are links, there are information, and all the links are coming from Microsoft official documentation, right? Learn.microsoft.com. That's basically the official documentation URL, and all of these are coming, and it's also referencing from where it is showing. So it's very, very grounded. It is not going to answer me for anything else. Even hi is not, it's not going to answer me for hi. It's all grounded. Now let me do one thing. Let me show you this one, which is a bit interesting one. And I clear this tool, clear this prompt. And let me show you a sample CSV file, okay, which contains some personal or private data. So if I just run this, and if you just see here, over here, this is from GitHub portal where you can download this sample sales file. Let me download this. And you can see that data here, but just let me close this Excel file. So this data is visible here, and it has got around 7,000 rows. Now the data is region, category, product, and revenue, total revenue, and year and month. So it's, you can see that each region like Africa, Asia, uh, America, and all these things, Europe has got broader regions available, Asia Pacific, and then Europe. So this is Europe, and then you have Middle East, You have got North America and so on and so forth, South America. So you have got huge list, 7,500 records are there, plus records are there. So it's a good amount of sales data, basically dummy sales data. Okay, it's not a true sales data, dummy sales data. So I've downloaded it, and I'm gonna just what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna add a new tool called code interpreter. So if I add this tool, it demands me a file. This is one of the tools. Okay, just for demo purpose, I'm going to use this. So imagine this is your data, which is there in the download section, Contoso sales revenue, which is 358 KB. And once it is uploaded in the foundry, I attach it. I also need to add a bit of system prompt, that is the instruction. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove it and display this system prompt. Okay, it is a pre-created system prompt because it is a bit elaborate. So you can see that you are a sales agent for Contoso Outdoor. So that's the name of the sales agent. The company where you are working or the agent is working, you are polite, professional, helpful, and friendly, setting the tone, and also telling from where you get the information. You get all the sales data from an uploaded .csv file or files. There is sales revenue data, and I'm also explaining about the file in a very simple English language, which is broken into region, okay, product category, product type, and separated by year and month. So this is basically explaining about the data. And also giving example. Example region includes Africa, Asia, Europe, and America. Categories include climbing gear, camping equipment, apparel, others. Product categories include jackets, hammocks, wetsuits, shoes, and more. If a question, this is very important, is not related to sales or you cannot answer the question, you must respond. I'm also giving you the response, which you need to respond back. Please contact IT for more assistance. Okay. If the user asks for help, say help. Provide a list of sample questions that you can answer. So now you don't need to say, what can I do for me? You can simply say help and it will give you the help. So that's what this is going to do. So I'm going to copy this whole content, that is the system prompt, and update here in the same agent which I have been working on. I save this. When I save, it basically goes ahead and gets me a very different experience. So let me show you this. I say hi. Now this is an user who is coming into the system for the first time and doesn't know anything about this agent. So hello, welcome to the Contoso Outdoor Sales Support. If you like, you can ask things such as, so it is even giving me the question I can ask. Okay, so which product type is highest revenue in sales? Okay, so let me say, show me the sales by category in EU. Notice here, I'm not typing Europe. Generally speaking, EU stands for Europe. So because there's an LLM, it has got a reasoning capability. It should be able to get fetched. Now, this is the special thing happening because I'm using code interpreter tool. Now, what this code interpreter tool does, it actually uses the data frame pandas, basically pandas library, to build a data frame code on behalf of you based on the natural language prompt which you are providing, right? If you have done a bit of data science, have done data massaging from your CSV, you might have used this pandas data frame, and then you have loaded the CSV in the memory, right? And you load the data frame from the CSV from in memory, and then you basically get rows and columns where you can do a query like language, right? And do ordering and all these things. So this is what it is doing. So you can see that the output is showing here. This is the final formatted output, which is coming after writing this so much of Python code. So it actually wrote 41 lines of number of Python code. You can copy this code and run it in any Python interpreter, and it will give you the result, provided the CSV path is correct. So you probably put the CSV path in the root and then just run it, and it will run. But you are not writing this code. You got this output from here. So you see here that the output is coming here, and then I change a bit here. What is the total sales in Europe? So it will now do a little different activity. Now it is not going to break it into categories and do this, but it will get me a total sales in Europe, which is 1199207. And this number 1199207 is true for Europe, any kind of query you ask about the sales in Europe. So this is a very deterministic number because it is fetching the information by doing a pure math into the CSV file. So it's not going to change, right? As long as the data is not changing, it's not going to change. So you get the deterministic output by using a probabilistic model in an agent via tool. And this is why you get those kind of assured output every time you run this tool for any natural language prompt which where intent is similar. Okay, so you see that right now it is again loading the CSV, doing you revenue, fetching the Europe, right? The UU stands for Europe. Case insensitive, so in case you have seen that in the CSV it's all capital, but it is searching with Europe, but doing a case sensitive search, doing a fetch the data frame, and then showing you the total by doing a sum call, right? These are all Python function, pure Python. Now this is happening, right? Now let me take this output prompt and I just run it. When I run it, it's going to give me the same output. It's going to show me the code getting generated and then thing. So even I have a CSV with the number, right? You can see that. I can see. Now I'm going to show it to my boss, and showing just the number is not very intuitive. So it's kind of like not that great in terms of telling picture, telling stories around and then giving the idea, right? It's just few numbers, right? We are more habituated with the pictures, charts and graphs. So I'm saying that show me in graph or chart. Now when I call this show me in chart, you know that in Python there is something called matplotlib. So it's going to use that matplotlib to plot this data in a file and just allow me to download it. So if you're building an application for this agent, you can actually display it on the screen, but right now it is in the playground, but it's going to go ahead and should give me a PNG link to display the record. So this is what I'm going to just try to get here. If everything is fine, it's going to go ahead and show me a download link to the file which it is going to generate. Otherwise, you see here the code which is getting generated here is pandas matplotlib, and then it is going to first fetch the record by sales by category, and then it will use the chart to plot the record, right? So X will become total revenue, and the title is the Europe sales category, and then you can see that it is going to have the tab color blue. So you want to change the color and you can do all these things. So this is the download link to the PNG. So let me download it. It downloaded and it's still downloading. This is how it looks like. You can change the behavior. You can say that, hey, you know what? I need the number at the top of the bar so that you also see the number, because it's not clearly visible what is that value, right? So you want to see the exact value, you can see that. But otherwise, it clearly shows you that you have got the highest sale happening in Camping Hack. It tells more stories. You can have a conversation in a room, not by showing the number, but showing this picture, right? And you can see that, you know what, I see footwear, apparels, and water sports are all similar, close sales happening. So we want to increase the waters. And why water sports is increasing? Probably it's during the summer, right? The sales is happening. But if not summer, then it will decline. So what will happen in the winter? So we have to do some discounts and all these things. You can have a conversation here with the business stakeholders, right? So it's this is the outcome. You can change the color, you can change the behavior. You don't need to know how to develop at matplotlib code using Python. You can just ask, as simple. So if you imagine that you are talking to a developer who is writing this Python code, the way how you explain to that person what you need, you explain or write it down in this agent in the conversation. So agent will also do the same thing. So this is the evaluation. Now you can see here, I've not shown you these tool calls, but you have seen here all the messages which is being used here. So from the top, when I said hi, it actually gave me this Contoso outdoor details, but it did never called any tool because hi doesn't require to call a tool. When I call this question like show me the sales category by Europe, Perrin understood and called this code interpreter, which basically generated this Python code and got me this output, and then send me this final formatted output because it's of generative AI capability. This time, when I say that what is the total sales in Europe, it again called the tool, it called the message. So the tool calling is up to the agent to decide. I have not said that you need to call the tool every time. And even if you're calling the tool, what exactly is the action you're going to do? I've not told that. I've never mentioned anything in my code, neither have written that code. So that's the beauty of a large language model or generative AI model, to decide what tool to call when based on the input you are providing. That's the reasoning capability which you need when you decide on the model part of building uh, an agent. So this is a very brief, high-level overview of what this agent looks like and how you start thinking around building an agent and what all it can do. This is a no-code approach because I'm using the Foundry agent service where the agent is hosted within the Foundry. I don't need to maintain and manage the infrastructure, but if you want more control, you can build this agent using Microsoft Agent Framework, LangChain, LangGraph, or any SDK available which can allow you to build that agent and host it in a compute like a Kubernetes cluster or a container or even inside a VM, and then allow people to interact with the agent. So, but the whole idea will be the same. You have to write the code, which I have not written, to build that agent, to configure the tools, and then in case you need tools written by you also need those things and do all the stuff. So it's kind of those activity you need to make sure you have that in the system. So this I want to stop here, and I want to thank you for watching this video. Hope you have enjoyed, you got an idea about the agent, and it's a very basic high level understanding of what that agent is with the demo, with a slow evolution. That's why in the beginning I said that I will go slow, but I would like to explain you the whole intent of agent, that is the calling of the tool intelligently, calling of the functions which are configured within the agent intelligently on the dynamically whenever it's needed. But there is no fixed set of instruction given that if this condition, then you call that function, if that condition. That is what the large language model is going to take care, that heavy lifting. So you can actually be free and actually build some amazing system using this agent. And you can see that you can have a deterministic capability of doing a math, pure math, and getting the fixed output every time you call this agent. So thank you very much. Thanks for patiently watching this 40 minutes session. Hope you have enjoyed and hope you will actually build some few amazing agents going forward. Wish you all the best.